rise. The court of Bethel is now in session. The Honorable Tyler Barron provides.
You may be seated. Good evening, everybody. Prosecution attorneys, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense attorneys, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Prosecution attorneys may present your opening statement.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are here today to discuss the murder of Marcus Dobre. He was a college student at TikTok University and just started a job at Dunkin' Donuts and was on his way to have a happy life. This poor boy had his life brutally cut short by none other than Charlie D'Amelio. She was a fellow student at TikTok University and president of the Environmental Society at said university. When she heard that Dunkin' Donuts was throwing away the leftover donuts instead of giving them to people in need, Charlie got angry. She organized a strike against Dunkin' Donuts, hoping to hurt their business and raise awareness of their cruelty to the environment. When that didn't work, she devised another plan. This was to retrieve the leftover donuts at the end of the day so that she could give them to people at her university who were unable to afford their meal plan. However, as she walked into the store to get the donuts, the employees blew her off and told her to come back in an hour. Now, this further infuriated Charlie, and she was ready to snap. She returned an hour later, but this time she had a gun. Marcus greeted Charlie and gave her the donuts. Charlie smiled, took the donuts, turned out the lights, and slowly pulled the gun. Bam! 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 Marcus was dead. It only took 1 minute. Charlie walked out proudly, now nothing to get in the way of her plan. Even so, she was nervous. Every 10 seconds or so, she would look back at what she had done. As Charlie walked out, she remembered that she was leaving through the front door, but her gun was at the back door. This didn't matter to Charlie, as she could later walk back and get the gun. That was her first mistake because one thing got in the way. A man named Ray Addison walked up to Charlie and asked her why the lights were off and why she was holding the donuts. Charlie nervously answered that she didn't know why the lights were off and explained her plan to Ray as an answer to why she was holding the donuts. Now, her second mistake was not noticing that she had gunpowder on her hands, the mark of her crime. After this conversation, Charlie nervously walked away. Suspicious of Charlie, however, Ray decided to stay and investigate. He had already noticed the gunpowder, but that wasn't enough to accuse her of murder. But as Ray walked back to the store, he saw the gun. He pieced these events together, realized what had happened, and called the police. Through all of this, Charlie walked back home, thinking that no one could get in the way of her plan, and thinking that no one would know she murdered an innocent man in cold blood. Okay, so the defense will try to paint Charlie as an unassuming, kind, passionate girl who could never be capable of murder. However, as you hear testimony from several friends, coworkers, and family, it will become clear that the opposite is true. Charlie would do whatever it takes to put her plans into action. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, make the right decision. Give Marcus's family some closure. Give Charlie the punishment that she deserves so that justice may be served. Thank you.
Defense attorneys, please present your opening statement.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We are here today to prove the innocence of Charlie D'Amelio. Charlie has been wrongly accused of Marcus Dobre's murder. Charlie is just a student at TikTok University. She also is the president of the Environmental Society at her university. Charlie found out that Dunkin' Donuts was throwing away their extra donuts at the end of the day. She thought this was wrong. She also knew that there were students at TikTok University who could not afford the meal plan. Being the kind girl she is, she came up with a plan to bring the extra donuts that would have been thrown out at the end of the day to those kids in need. The prosecution will make it seem like Charlie is a murderer, when really, she's just a girl trying to help the environment and underprivileged students. Charlie's plan was to talk to the manager of Dunkin' Donuts, Chase Hudson. She told him about her plan and he was happy to let Charlie take the extra donuts at the end of the day. Charlie got her way and therefore would not be mad at Dunkin' Donuts or want to kill any of their employees. Charlie then went back to Dunkin' Donuts and there she met Lauren Gray. Lauren Gray is a longtime employee at Dunkin'. Lauren told Charlie to come back in an hour to pick up the donuts because the store didn't close yet. Charlie understood this and definitely was not mad at Lauren. Charlie came back and was greeted by Marcus Dobre. Lauren was still there at the time and was cleaning at the back of the store. Marcus went back to get the donuts. During that time, Charlie got a call from her sister Dixie. While on the phone, Charlie told Dixie in a very excited and happy tone about her brilliant plan and that she couldn't wait to see it in full action. Charlie could have not gone from a happy girl excited about her project to a cold-blooded murderer. After the call, Marcus gave the donuts to Charlie, and she started walking out. As she was leaving, the store lights went out. She thought the lights went out because Marcus was closing the store for the day and turning off the lights. This made sense to Charlie because she just took all the donuts that were left from the whole day. Thinking nothing of it, she kept walking out the door. Later, Lucas, Marcus's brother, came back to get his gym bag, and that Marcus was keeping for him. And Lucas saw Marcus dead. When Charlie was at home that night, the police came and arrested Charlie for the murder of Marcus Dobre. We will show you that the prosecution cannot prove that she even had a gun with her or that she was actually in the store at the time of the murder. As you are listening to the following testimonies, remember that Charlie had no motive for killing Marcus. Charlie didn't even know Marcus or see him anywhere before she came to get the donuts. She was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Prosecution attorneys, you may present your first witness.
I call Ray Addison dead.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Ray Addison,
How old are you?
22,
What do you like to do for fun?
jog,
Where do you live?
TikTok town,
In your own words, how far are you from TikTok University?
15-minute jog.
So let's go back to around 5 o'clock in the afternoon of February 24th. What were you doing?
On my daily run.
Where did you pass by during your run?
Dunkin' Donuts.
While you were there, did you see anything or anyone suspicious or unusual?
Yes, I saw Charlie D'Amelio.
Does he have anything in her hands?
Yes,
What did she have?
boxes of donuts, and it looked like she had gunpowder on her hands.
What color was the gunpowder?
Black and a teeny bit of white.
Was there anything else strange about her?
Yes.
What was strange?
She was out of breath, kept on looking back at the store.
Did you talk to her at all?
Yes.
What did you say to her?
I asked her why the lights were off inside Dunkin' Donuts and why she was holding boxes of donuts.
What were her answers to both questions?
She said she's not sure why the lights were off inside Dunkin' Donuts, and she said that she was delivering the leftover donuts to the students at TikTok University who could not afford the meal plan.
So this is at what time?
Around 5:05.
Did she leave directly after talking to you?
Yes.
Did you stay?
Yes.
What did you do there?
I looked around the back of the store.
Did you see anything?
Yes.
What did you see?
I saw a gun.
Are you familiar with guns?
A little bit.
What can you tell us about the gun?
It looked like it had been fired.
After seeing the gun, what did you do?
I looked around a little bit more and then I called the police around 5:25 or 5:30.
Where did you call from?
Behind the store.
Do you have either any vision or hearing issues?
No,
Are you familiar with either the defendant or the victim?
not that much.
Before talking to Charlie, were you aware of her plan to help the environment?
No,
Were you aware of the Environmental Society at TikTok University?
no,
Do you see the defendant in the courtroom today?
yes,
Could you please point them out?
there.
No further questions.
Defense, you may cross-examine. What is your relationship with the defendant?
Nothing much, I've just seen her around.
What were you doing at around 5 p.m. on February 24th?
On my daily run,
And where were you?
I passed by Dunkin' Donuts.
Did you see anything?
Yes,
What did you see?
I saw Charlie D'Amelio.
And did you ask her anything?
Yes,
And what did you ask?
I asked her why the lights were off inside Dunkin' Donuts and why she was carrying boxes of donuts.
And what did she answer?
She said that she's not sure why the lights were off inside Dunkin' Donuts, and she said that she was delivering the leftover donuts from the local Dunkin' Donuts to the students of TikTok University who could not afford the meal plan.
And did you believe her?
Yes,
How come?
because it seemed pretty real.
Okay, did you see anything suspicious on her?
Yes,
What did you see?
gunpowder on her hands.
Are you positive that it was gunpowder?
No,
No. Did you do anything else at Dunkin' Donuts?
yes,
What did you do?
I looked behind the store.
And what did you see when you came behind the store?
I saw a gun.
What did you do once you saw the gun?
I looked around a little more and then I called the police on 525 and 530 or 530,
And how long did you stay there before calling the police?
around 20 minutes.
What were you doing for those 20 minutes between when you saw the gun and when you called the police?
Looking around the store, behind the store.
Did you go inside the store at all?
No,
So you didn't know if there was anyone at all inside?
yes,
So you assumed that she did it, but you didn't see anyone else?
yes,
Which door did she exit from?
the front,
The front. And the gun was in the back of the store?
yes,
One final question. Have you ever committed a crime?
yes,
Which one?
perjury.
So we can obviously not trust you because you've lied in court before. I have no
Well,
further
people
questions,
can
Your Honor.
change.
The witness is excused. Prosecution attorneys, you may call up your next witness.
Raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Say your name for the record, please.
Greg Avani,
How old are you?
I'm 38 years old.
And what's your occupation?
I own a dry cleaning shop.
Been on it after 5:03, 5:05. Did you hear a gunshot?
I did.
And what did you do when you heard those gunshots?
I hid behind my curtains.
And did you peek out at all?
I did.
And what did you see?
I saw Charlie walking out of the Dunkin' Donuts.
And have you seen her before?
Yes.
Where?
That day she was in my shop and I was close by.
And on your way to work, do you see her at all?
Yes.
Is she doing anything?
Yes.
What is she doing?
She's arguing with Boyd, which I think is her boyfriend, but I don't know exactly.
Did that concern you at all?
Yes.
What did you think much of it?
Not really.
And back at the store, when you saw Charlie, was she carrying anything?
Yes.
What was she carrying?
A bunch of boxes of donuts.
And what were her expressions?
She had a smile on her face and kept looking back at the entrance of the store every 10 seconds or so.
And did you bother to approach her at all?
No,
Why?
I was scared
Why were you scared?
because I thought she was the one who fired the gunshots and I really want to go up to her at the time.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Defense, you may cross-examine. Where do you work? At my dry cleaning shop. What are the hours? 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Do you know Charlie?
Not really.
Did you ever speak to Charlie?
What?
Did you ever speak to Charlie?
Yes.
What did she say?
She told me about her plan that day when she came to my shop.
Does Charlie seem like the type of person to murder someone?
Yes.
Why?
I see her fighting with somebody and I always think that she would do anything to get her way.
Did you see Charlie walk into the store?
No,
Did
Did you see her walk out?
Yes,
Was there anything suspicious about her?
yes.
What was she doing?
She was smiling on her face and kept looking back at the store every 10 seconds or so.
Have you seen the victim before?
No,
Have you seen the boy she fights with before?
yes,
What do you know about him?
not much. All I know is that he just listens to her while she fights with them.
Did you see anyone else around 5:15 p.m.?
No,
Did you see Charlie shoot the victim?
no,
Did you see anyone shoot the victim?
no.
No further questions, Your Honor.
The witness is excused. And prosecution, you may now call your next witness.
I call Lucas Dobrik to the stand.
Can you please raise your right hand? You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. May you please state your name for the record?
Lucas Dobrik,
How old are you?
24.
Do you go to college?
Yes,
Where do you go?
I go to TikTok University.
May you please tell me what time do you leave your college?
I leave college at 5 p.m.
And what did you do after you left college?
After I left college, I went to Dunkin' Donuts.
And why are we going to Dunkin' Donuts?
I went to Dunkin' Donuts to pick up my gym.
And why was your bag initially at Dunkin' Donuts?
I gave it to my brother earlier because he was going to the gym.
And may you please tell me what was in your bag?
In my bag, I had my gym equipment.
I see. And once you were inside, did you hear any noises?
No,
All right. And did you come through the front?
yes,
Did it seem like the place was still open at all?
yes,
And do you know where your brother left your gym bag?
yes.
And was there anything else? May you please tell me what was behind the counter? Am I correct?
Yes,
Was there anything else behind the counter?
yes.
May you please tell me what?
My brother,
Was he dead?
yes.
That does not sound good. So when you saw that your brother was dead, what was your reaction?
I was scared.
And when did you see that Marcus had anything in his hand?
No,
And what did you do after you saw that he was dead?
I looked around the area to see if anybody else was there.
And was there anybody else there?
Yes,
Can you please tell me who?
Charlie D'Amelio.
And may you please tell me where was she?
She was down the street.
Was there anybody else besides Charlie?
I didn't see anybody else. No.
So just to confirm, so the only person that you saw in the vicinity was Charlie.
Yes,
And what was Charlie wearing?
Charlie was wearing normal clothes.
And was she running or walking?
She was walking.
Did you know who Charlie was before?
No, but I've heard rumors about her playing.
I see. And was Charlie carrying anything?
Yes,
What was she carrying?
a bunch of boxes of donuts.
All right. And when you first saw her, did she look at all suspicious?
Yes,
All right. And what do you think was inside the box?
I thought they were donuts.
All right. And did you see anything on her hands?
No,
When you were leaving Dunkin' Donuts, did you grab her bag?
no.
And when did you leave this? When did you leave the store?
Oh, I left the store after I seen Charlie.
Did you call the police?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any visual or auditory issues?
No,
Now, I just want to talk a little bit about your brother Marcus. Was he a new employee at Dunkin' Donuts?
yes.
How new?
Can you ask that again?
How new was he? Like a week, a month, year?
A couple of weeks.
All right. Do you know if your brother liked the job?
He never told me much about it. He
All
Just,
right. All right, I see. So, do you know if Marcus knew Charlie at all?
no,
So just to conclude, the only person that you saw in the vicinity was Charlie.
yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
The witness is excused. Oh. Defense, you may cross-examine. Do you see any wounds on Marcus's body?
I didn't check his body.
And do you hear any gunshots?
No,
And you saw Charlie near the shop with donut boxes.
I saw her down the street.
You saw no one else?
I didn't see anybody else.
Was there a back room to the shop?
Yes,
And do you check the back room for anyone?
no,
So you have no idea someone could have been in there.
I don't know if anybody else.
And you assume Charlie was the murderer because she was the only one you saw near the shelf, while there could have been someone else in the back room?
Yeah.
No further questions, Your Honor. Now the witness is excused. Prosecution attorneys, you may call up your next witness.
I call Lauren Gray to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
So, hello, maybe state your name for the record.
Lauren Gray,
All right, and how old are you?
22.
So, do you go to college?
Yes.
May you please tell me where you go?
Tucson University.
And do you have a job besides going to college?
Yes.
May you please tell me what?
I work at Dunkin' Donuts.
And maybe please tell me what time you start your shift?
Around 2 o'clock.
And when do you end your shift?
Around 10 o'clock when the shop closes.
And but did you leave before then?
Yes,
May you please tell me why?
because there was a murder.
When did you leave the store?
Around 5 o'clock or like 5:15.
All right. And so you were in the store during the murder?
Not 15. 5, around 5 o'clock.
Oh, sorry. And were you in the store during the murder?
Yes,
All right. Did you hear anything at the time of the killing?
yes.
May you please tell me what?
I heard whispers and gunshots.
Can you recall if the whispers were the voice of a male or a female?
Female.
Did the power go out at all?
Yes.
Can you recall for how long did it go out?
I'm not sure.
That's fine. And when the murder happened, what were you doing?
I was bleeding
Maybe tell me where?
towards the back.
Right, so you're like leaning towards the back, okay? And what was your reaction when you heard the gunshots? You're probably very scared.
Yeah, I was really scared. I thought I was gonna die.
So like, what was your initial reaction? Did you run? Did you hide? Did you?
Yeah, because I ran because if you were there, you would probably do the same thing.
I agree. And was there anybody else there?
Yes,
Maybe tell me who?
Charlie D'Amelio.
And did you see Charlie?
Yeah, not clearly, but I heard her.
Do you know where she was?
I'm guessing towards the front.
All right. And did you call the police?
Yes,
And all right. So when did you get back home?
around 5:30.
And I want to talk now just a little bit about Marcus. Was Marcus a new employee?
Yes.
How new was he?
He's been working there for about 2 weeks.
Do you have a good relationship with him?
I mean, not really, because he's a new employee.
No, but like, do you, yeah, all right, that's fine. And do you know who Charlie D'Amelio is?
Yes.
How do you know him?
She goes to my university and she's the head of the Environmental Society at the university.
All right, and do you have any health, visual, or auditory issues?
No.
I have no further questions, John.
Defense, you may cross-examine. You were there at the time of the murder, correct?
Correct.
And you heard gunshots?
Yes.
Do you see who shot them?
No.
So you didn't see if Charlie was the one to actually shoot Marcus?
No.
And there was a power outage?
Yes.
Was it solely Duncan that had the outage?
It could have been anywhere else too around the area.
Didn't you leave the building?
Yes.
So when you were leaving the building, do you see any other lights that were off?
What?
Well, when you left the building, do you see any other place that had lights off? That wouldn't have
I
lights
mean,
off?
I was running for my life, so I can't really, I was really panicked, so I didn't really pay attention to that much.
Do you know what might have caused the power to go out?
The power outage, like something might have to do with that, maybe like a car ran into a pole, bad weather or something.
When did you go out the back room?
When you heard the gunshots.
Where did you go out from? Back room. There's a back door in there.
Yes.
Did you see a gun when you went out? On the back?
No.
Were you panicked when you left the store?
Yes.
And do you think that your panic state could have made you forget anything or remember things differently?
I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying, but maybe.
And, do you know anyone that might want Marcus dead?
Yes,
One, who?
her,
Why?
because she was very mad at the time and she really wanted to get her plan into action.
How was she mad?
What?
How was she mad? Like, was she yelling? Was she?
When she came to check, if she could get the donuts about an hour before the murder, she would just like seemed very like annoyed that it couldn't happen like right when she wanted it.
Do you think that she could have just been disappointed instead that you could have picked it up sooner?
I mean, she could have been disappointed as well, but I'm pretty sure she was mad.
Do you know anyone else that might want this?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor. Witness is excused. Prosecution, do you have any further witnesses? Defense, you may now call your first witness.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
No, but
Do you go to college?
yes, I do.
Where do you go?
TikTok University.
Are you part of many clubs?
Yes.
Is that which club are you part of?
The Environmental Society Club.
Is that the club that Charlie is president of?
Yes.
Did she tell you about her plan?
Yes, she did.
Do you have a crush on her?
Yes.
So you know her very well, and you know she couldn't kill anyone, right?
Yes.
Was she happy about her plan?
Yes.
Do you think she could go from a happy girl about this plan to murdering someone?
No.
It was a different question. So you know her well and you could kill anyone, but could she go from a happy girl to planning to murder someone? So it's two different questions.
Objection sustained.
So you think that she could go from a happy girl about this plan to murdering someone?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you may cross-examine.
So you have a crush on Charlie.
Yes.
Does that mean you would lie for her?
Yes.
So we can't trust you. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Defense, you may call up your next witness. Emilio, to the stand. Please state your name for the record.
Dixie D'Amelio.
What is your relationship with the defendant?
She's my sister.
Okay, do you, either you or Charlie know Marcus Dobray?
No.
Either you or Charlie know Lucas Dobray?
No.
Okay, so where were you on February 24th at around 4:30 to 5 p.m.?
I was at the beach.
And what did you do once you got to the beach?
I called Charlie.
And why did you call?
To tell her I arrived.
Any other reason?
Yes.
What was the reason?
Because I thought my boyfriend was going to propose to me.
Okay, and where was Charlie when you called her?
She was inside Dunkin' Donuts.
And what did Charlie tell you on the phone?
Her plan.
And how did she sound when she was talking about her?
She was excited.
Excited. So did you see her going from a excited girl to a full-blooded murderer after she did them?
No.
Did Charlie have any reason to kill Marcus?
No.
How come?
Because she didn't have a motive.
And how come she didn't have a
Marcus, he was being very compliant.
okay? And is Charlie a violent person?
No.
Charlie wanted to kill to get what she wants.
No.
Are you confident in your sister's innocence?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Prosecution, you may cross-examine.
Would you consider yourself to be an honest person?
Yes.
Have you ever lied?
Yes.
If your family were in danger, would you lie to protect them?
Yes.
The defendant, Charlie, is your sister, correct?
Yes.
That means she's part of your family.
Yes.
Would you lie to protect her?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Witness is excused. In defense, you may call up your next witness.
Please raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Could you say your name for the record?
Chase Hudson,
How old are you?
30,
Do you have a job?
yes.
Where do you work?
Dunkin' Donuts at TikTok University,
Did Charlie speak to you?
yes.
What did she say?
Her plan to give the extra donuts.
What time did she arrive?
7 a.m.
Where were you around 5:15 p.m.?
Taking a walk with my kids,
Did you see anyone on the walk?
yes.
Who?
Charlie,
Is it possible for her to be at two places at once?
no,
Do you think she committed the murder?
no.
Why?
Her plan,
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you can cross-examine.
Where were you at 5 o'clock?
taking a walk with my kids,
And who did you see?
Charlie D'Amelio,
Do you have any vision problems?
yes,
Do you need glasses?
yes,
Were you wearing your glasses when you saw her?
no.
And how far away was she from you?
20 to 30 feet,
How many times have you seen her prior to this?
once,
Are you confident that you'd be able to recognize her?
no,
And you didn't have your glasses on?
no,
Would you say that she no longer has a concrete alibi? No? So you would say that her alibi is still fully intact?
Like about the alibi twice. What's your response?
Chase Hudson replied that this did not ruin the alibi. I was curious as to his reasoning.
Yeah, when you ask again.
No, I asked a separate question. I asked why he thought that her alibi was still intact.
The objection is sustained.
So is it possible that she was at Dunkin' Donuts and not where you were?
no,
You just said that you may not have been able to recognize her. So
she
it's possible that
can't
the-
be at two places at once,
What was that?
she can't be at two places at once,
Are you sure that she was at the street where you were?
no.
No further questions.
The witness is excused. Defense, you may call up your next witness.
Please raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Charlie D'Amelio,
What is your occupation?
I'm a student at TikTok University.
Do you live on campus?
I do,
Are you involved in any clubs?
yes.
What is the club's name?
The Environmental Society,
What is your role in it?
I'm the president,
Have you ever had any issues with Dunkin' Donuts?
yes.
Please describe the issues.
I didn't think that it was very environmental friendly that they're throwing away their leftover donuts at the end of the day.
Do you find a resolution with those issues?
Yes.
What was the resolution?
I talked to the manager and he agreed to let me take them at the leftover donuts at the end of the day.
How do you feel about this?
I thought it was a really good resolution.
And after reaching this resolution, do you say any disparaging things about Dunkin' Donuts?
No,
Do you feel that your agreement solved any issues with the brand?
yes.
What is your connection to Marcus Dobray?
I've never seen him before.
What is Marcus's role at Dunkin' Donuts?
He's a new employee,
You never met him outside of Dunkin' Donuts?
correct.
Who do you interact with at Dunkin' Donuts instead of taking food to people who couldn't afford the meal plan?
The manager, Chase Hudson,
Was Marcus ever part of these conversations?
not as far as I know,
Is it safe to say they've never previously interacted with Marcus?
correct,
And you never had any prior knowledge of Marcus working there before picking up the donuts?
correct.
In your own words, describe what happened when you went to pick up the donuts at the end of the day.
So I asked Marcus for the donuts and he said he'll be right back. I went behind the counter. At that time, I got a phone call from my sister Dixie, and she told me that she had safely arrived at the beach and that her boyfriend was going to propose to her. Then she hung up, I got the donuts and walked out.
How do you feel during the call of Dixie?
I was very happy and excited because I would be able to finally put my plan into action.
Did the power go out while you were at Dunkin' Donuts?
It did,
When did the power go out?
right as I was walking out.
What do you think was happening when the power went out?
I didn't think much of it. I just thought that Marcus was closing up since I did pick up the leftover donuts then.
Do you go back inside?
What?
Do you go back inside?
No,
Do you contact anyone about the power being off?
no,
Do you know how long the power was out for?
I do not.
Do you see anyone or thing in the parking lot during this time or on your way back?
I did.
Who?
An older looking man in his 50s.
Do you speak to him?
A little, yes.
What was your conversation?
He asked me what I was doing and I answered that I was just getting donuts and bringing them to the hungry people at my university.
And would you ever murder Marcus given the chance?
No, I would never.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you may cross-examine.
Were you at or around Dunkin' Donuts when Marcus Dobray was killed?
I was.
Did you hear any gunshots?
I did.
Did you see the power go out?
Yes.
What do you think was happening when the power went out?
Marcus was just closing up.
And the gunshots, did you think those were normal too?
No,
And did you say that you had Dunkin' Donuts boxes at the time of the murder?
can you repeat that, please?
Did you have Dunkin' Donuts boxes at the time of the murder?
I did.
Is it possible that you were one of the last people to see Marcus Dobray alive?
Yes, it's possible.
And I believe that you had organized a strike against Dunkin' Donuts earlier. Is that true?
It is.
And would you say that a strike would hurt their business?
Yes,
Would you say that a murder could also possibly hurt their business?
yes.
No further questions.
Witnesses excused.
Prosecution attorneys, do you have any, defense attorneys, do you have any further witnesses? Defense attorneys, you may now present your closing statement.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the juries. My name is Jessica Mirsky, and I'm here today to show you that Charlie D'Amelio did not commit this murder. Furthermore, she's just a sweet, innocent girl. Some people would say that Charlie is a murderer, even cold-blooded. But it was interesting how when she was talking to her sister Dixie, she was happy and excited. She went from being praised for helping people to everyone assuming she's a homicidal maniac. She just walked out of a store at the wrong time, and then people assume she's a murderer without further investigation. The prosecution witnesses all claim they saw Charlie walking out the door or walking down the sidewalk near the Dunkin' Donuts, but none of them saw each other. One of the witnesses also said that he inspected around the store for 20 minutes, but somehow did not see any of the other witnesses who said that they saw Charlie walk out. These witnesses are either confused, lying, or just plain stupid. You obviously cannot trust them. Her friends and family know Charlie very well and are close with her. They know that Charlie is a very generous girl and could never commit murder. As for Chase, the manager of the store, was happy to let Charlie take the donut, and Marcus gave them to her very easily. The prosecution keeps trying to paint Charlie as someone who's mad at Dunkin' Donuts. She's not mad at Dunkin', she's just disappointed by their actions and offered to help fix their flaws. Charlie is going through the worst times right now because everyone is saying she's a murderer. She's not in danger per se, and there would be no reason to lie for her. Charlie never knew that when she was taking extra donuts at the end of the day, it would turn into a murder case and everyone would be blaming her. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we encourage you to vote not guilty. First, she obviously has no motive, as first she never met Marcus before this incident. Second, the gunshots went off when she was out of Dunkin'. And lastly, and most importantly, she is a wonderful girl who could never kill anyone. If you have any reasonable doubt that Charlie didn't murder Marcus, please vote not guilty. And remember that Charlie was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Prosecution attorneys, you may now present your closing statement.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have just witnessed the trial of Charlie D'Amelio, who murdered Marcus Dobre. He was a good man who could have lived a long life, surrounded with his wife, his children, his grandchildren, maybe even great-grandchildren. But unfortunately, he was murdered in cold blood by none other than Charlie D'Amelio. She has a long history of being a calculating person and is also known for wanting everything her way. She's also known to obliviate anything in her way that is trying to stop her cause. At TikTok University, Charlie D'Amelio created an environmental club. When Charlie figured out that Dunkin' Donuts was throwing away leftover donuts, she was enraged and encouraged all of the members of her club to boycott it as well. She then came to Dunkin' Donuts to ask for the leftover donuts so that she could give the donuts to the people at TikTok University who could unfortunately not afford the meal plan there. She then came to the shop and the manager told Charlie to come back in an hour. She was so infuriated that when she came back, she fired 3 shots and killed Marcus. Witnesses saw that she walked out of the store carrying a box of donuts right after the murder, and she was looking back every 10 seconds with a malicious smile on her face. The defense has tried to prove that Charlie D'Amelio is a nice and kind person that cares about the environment, but to no avail. The defense will say all sorts of good, sweet things about Charlie D'Amelio, but that is just all a big lie. The prosecution has proved, beyond all reasonable doubt, that Charlie D'Amelio is a cold-blooded, calculating, malicious killer who does not deserve to be part of society in our community. We know that you will make the right decision. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is now your job to decide the guilt or innocence of the defendant. You will go to the jury room with the jury person to make your decision. When making a higher decision, you may only consider the evidence that you heard here today. You may not consider any other information you may have or anything that was not said here today. You are to follow the law that the bailiff will now pass out to make your decision.
Okay, the moment these guys have been working towards about a month and a half. Go ahead and say it.
Say the number.
Say, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Okay.
Our verdict was guilty, 96. 7th-degree murder.
2nd-degree murder. Now, what did you decide, or how did you decide that?
Well, because she left the shop and then got the gun, so it obviously wasn't planned out. She didn't come into the shop the first time with the gun, which means that it was a spur of the moment decision. Yeah.
Okay.
Emotion built.
So really, there was no planning or anything like that, is what you're saying?
No.
So, off we go. Hold on just a second. Would the person, be it the defendant, be it one of the witnesses, somebody in the audience, would the real murderer please stand up? Would you tell us, please? What did you do? Loud, please.